Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day everyone. I'm Amiga Widya Setyaningrum from UNJ. Today I will share the academic presentation titled The Distancing Embracing Model of the Enjoyment of Negative Emotion in Art Reception. This was based off an article from Behavioral and Brain Science written by the names credited below and published online by Cambridge University. I would like to question the audience. Who has ever enjoyed a sad novel or a scary ride? Why are negative emotions so central in art reception far beyond tragedy? It's because negative emotions usually triggers avoidance, but in art and literature, tragedy narratives are sought after. This article proposes a new psychological aesthetic explanation of distancing embracing model. Negative emotions matter in art because they draw attention, heighten emotional involvement, and strengthen memory. The model explains this by combining two processes. First, distancing through art, representations, and fictions ensure safety and keep negative feelings compatible with enjoyment. Second, artwork uses these softened emotions to deepen engagement through emotional contrast, aesthetic forms, and meaning making. Mixed emotion further help transform negative feelings into rewarding experiences. The enjoyment of negative emotions in art has been discussed since Aristotle's theory of tragedy. Many art forms, including plays, operas, poems, films, and horror genres, evoke sadness, fear, or even disgust. These responses are not limited to high art but appears across popular media, which the authors refer to collectively as art. Also, exposure to art is usually linked to hedonistic expectation. The negative effect ordinarily leads to avoidance or defensive responses. This has created a long-standing paradox of why people voluntarily seek out works that elicit unpleasant feelings. The authors introduces their model to explain this paradox. This is the table, the distancing embracing model. Solid rectangles indicate the processing components that are always involved in making negative emotions enjoyable, whereas the dashed rectangles indicates components that are likely to be only occasional contributors to such enjoyment. What is the goals of art, characteristics of negative emotions, and their strong role in artworks? The art has been understood as competing for attention, emotional intensity, and memorability. Psychological studies shows that negative emotions strongly capture attentions, are intensely felt, fade slowly, and have privileged storage in memory. These findings supports the idea that negative emotions are not rare exceptions but a central artistic resource. This is the result of psychological studies and research. Narratives and representational arts frequently rely on conflict and suffering, which elicit negative emotions more strongly than depiction of stable happiness. Psychological studies confirm that audiences generally feel this emotion in response to sad music, negative images, or anger-inducing performance, and such feelings are often correlated with greater aesthetic liking. Music research similarly shows that the sadness can be both expressed and enjoyed, while intellectual pleasures routinely combines both positive and negative effects. Studies on chills and goosebumps further demonstrates how mixed emotion states often involving sadness intensifies reward responses and strengthen memorability of artworks. Sadly moving artworks are recorded more vividly and felt more intensely than the joyful ones. Regard, uh, and intensity, regardless of violence, predicts enjoyment in peak and role studies. These findings confirms that the negative emotions enhance engagement, pleasure, and memory in art, raising questions by the distancing embracing model in later sections. Cognitive mechanisms that keep negative emotions at a psychological distance, the distancing factors. These distancing factors explain how the cognitive schemata of art, representation, and fiction create psychological distance that reduce the adverse impact of negative emotions. When audiences recognize a situation as art, they process emotions within a safe, voluntary context where they retain control, which weakens goal relevance and action tendencies. These framings causes negative emotions to be felt as self-chosen experiences that do not threaten personal safety, a distinction also noted in philosophical account of art-elicited emotions. This is a simple illustration of how does it feel to safely processing emotions from artistic media. Representation introduces additional distancing by separating events from the viewer in time, space, or cultural context, thus reducing emotional immediacy. Even a short temporal delay can shift response towards humor or reduce threat, as shown in studies of media coverage of tragic events. Fictional framing adds another protective layer, allowing audiences to tolerate depictions of violence or suffering because no real individuals are harmed. Although immersion occurs, viewers typically retain some awareness of fictionality. How does the art of selecting, combining, and formally elaborating constituent part of artwork promotes the enjoyment of negative emotions? The embracing factors interplays of positive and negative emotions. The artwork makes positive and negative emotions because such interplay produces stronger engagement than purely pleasant content. Can help that shift between anxiety, hope, and joy stimulate the mind. Classical aesthetics also valued emotional contrast. Zillman's excitation transfer also shows that Hayton's later reliefs, while Solomon's opponent's process model links negative arousal to later positive rebound. Emotional antithesis enhance aesthetic interest and prevents boredom, aligning with 18th century's principle of variety. Experiments should test mixtures of positive and negative cues, likely yielding an inverted U shape of appreciation. Concomitant mixed emotions as mediator. Mixed emotions help transform negative feelings into pleasurable experiences. Research on sad films and horror that being moved and suspense respectively mediates enjoyment. This fits broader work on co-activated effect because emotions cluster in affective space. Sadness aligns with being moved and nostalgia, while horror aligns with suspense, which carries mixed balance. Such continuity lets more positive mixed states reframes negative ones. Negative emotions fuel mixed states that enable enjoyment, and only specific instances of sadness, horror, or disgust qualify. Mixed stages such as being moved, suspense, out, or nostalgia likely serve as general mediators. In conclusion, the distancing embracing models offer an integrated explanation for why negative emotions can enhance aesthetic enjoyment. Distancing mechanism keeps negative feelings within a safe cognitive boundaries, allowing them to coexist with expectation of pleasures in art. Embracing mechanisms then use the intensity, memorability, and variety produced by negative emotions to deepen engagement and prevent monotony. Rather than being a paradox or a special case limited to certain genres, negative emotions function as a valuable artistic resource. Their impact aligns with all well documented negativity biases in human emotions, showing how art turns these tendencies into sources of heightened aesthetic pleasures. Thank you for attending my presentation. Have a great day ahead. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.